Hey guys, it's Mel Hahn here with another Techie Tuesday. So today we're going to do two things. We have a big AVID showcase coming up at the end of October, around October the 29th. And in preparation for that, we want to start working on utilizing AVID weekly in our classrooms, which is one of our AVID goals for the school. So to access this in an easy way, I set up a Google Drive folder on your Google Drive under Alraka. And so hopefully it'll be easy to access. When I go into my Google Drive, I'm going to the Alraka folder. And what happens is then you can easily select the folder and you can have AVID, which is everything that you need to help you in the AVID classroom. But here is AVID Weekly, and we decided to put it outside so it would be easy for you to find. When I click on it, you will see that there are different folders within the folder. And so I want to just kind of give you a heads up of the best way or the ways that you can utilize this. This folder right here is by level of difficulty. That just basically means that I took every article and it didn't matter what topic and I put it in by the different levels of difficulty. And you will see this. If you see an A on the end of an article, it means that it is an advanced. It is the top highest level reading that you can have in AVID Weekly. F is for foundational, and that would mean anything that's on the lower end of the spectrum. Now, believe me, these things are still rigorous, but they're on the lower end of the spectrum. And then there's I for intermediate, which is the in-between. So if I was looking for a foundational piece to have my kids read, I would click on F for foundational, and you will see that there are several different AVID Weekly articles for my kids to be assigned. So this just gives you an idea. If you want to use AVID Weekly and you just want to assign it by level of difficulty, that's an easy way to do it. Charts and images, of course, are pictures or graphs or things that might be great for in your classrooms to help interpret data. So kids are always being asked this on standardized testing, as you know, and it's asking you, and you can do the same kind of thing, you know, pulling up one of these and ask them different questions about interpreting the data in these various charts and graphs. So when I go back to AVID Weekly, and the way I'm doing this is at the top. I don't know if you guys see me with my mouse, but this up here is called breadcrumbs, and it actually leads you to what you've been visiting. So when I go to click on my next folder, you will see that it'll say education. In order to get back to AVID Weekly, I'm just going to click AVID Weekly and it takes me back. So I'm just following my breadcrumbs, kind of like Hansel and Gretel. These folders in here are the articles based on topic. So this is an education articles, health articles, humanities articles, instructional models, we'll talk about in just a minute, language, math, sciences, and social studies. So if you know you're a social studies teacher and you want to use AVID Weekly, if you just click on social studies, you will get those same three things: A for advanced, F for foundational, I for intermediate, and then you can kind of choose. You know that you have different levels of kids in your class, so you would pick one of these folders, and then that's what you would assign for your basic social studies AVID Weekly assignment. Now there's two in here that are interesting that I want to just go back and revisit. Instructional models. These instructional models actually are wonderful because not only do they go by the various levels, but if I was looking for a foundational instructional model, it is going to, this one is kids and dogs are left in a hot car. When I click on this, it's not only going to give me the article, but it gives me the entire lesson plan, piece by piece by piece, exactly what you do, what are some of the AVID strategies that you can integrate in your classroom with this particular article. And so it kind of leaves the guesswork out of everything that you're doing. It focuses in on the critical reading lesson or issue with this particular AVID Weekly article. So those are wonderful to visit. Instructional models, when it says instructional models, that means it's giving you everything, the lesson plan and the article, plus we gave you the levels. So that should be easy for you to find. The next one I want to talk about is opposing view. Now, opposing views are great because when you click on it, you are given a folder and it has two different articles, one of one particular view on the subject and another of another particular view. And it allows your students to kind of get both sides. So when I click on that, this is about freedom of expression. And it's talking about political correctness and whether or not we should be using or embracing political correctness. And then on this side is the opposite of that, which is that it's time for Americans to embrace freedom of speech over political correctness. So you have people on one side saying political correctness is what we need to be doing, and people on the other side saying, hey, we need to maybe not be so politically correct. It is a wonderful argument in this day and time for kids. So basically the I here means that it is the level. And as you know, earlier we talked about I is intermediate. So these articles are right in the middle. And so these two opposing view sections are right in the middle for your readers. So that should be basically it. I left AVID weekly questions outside of any of the folders because I thought you could utilize it with all of the different articles. And when you click on it, you will see that it's based on COSTA's levels of thinking. And this is a way that you could really hold the students accountable for what they're reading or challenge them to critically assess or think about the ideas that they just read about. Now, it's based on 3 levels, COSTA's levels of thinking, and level 1 is more for the questions would be more comprehension type questions, and level 2 and 3 would be the ones that you would use to develop critical thinking or you want to assess their critical thinking skills. So that is one that I would always pull up. Maybe you can use it with the assignment that you guys give with the AVID weekly articles, and I am looking forward to seeing how you're using those in your classroom. Okay guys, one last thing is, I know that many of you have talked to me about the idea that you have so much stuff in your Google Drive, and I just can't imagine some of your Google Drive. So I am new here, as you know, and I do not have not even a fraction of what you might be seeing in your own Google Drive after doing this for so many years. So several of you talked to me about how in the world can you organize or how can you find things, and so Google Drive has added some really great search techniques, and I just want to show you how easy it is to find something. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I really don't know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the Chromebook letter, but I'm not sure what it's called. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to click this down arrow in the search drive box, and it says, okay, well, what type of file was it? Well, I think what I'm looking for is a document. Okay, it's not necessarily a folder, it's not necessarily a presentation. I know it's not a PDF, so I'm going with the fact that it's a document. I'm opening up with, what does it open with? Well, if you guys have, PDFs, or if you have Word documents or anything in your Google Drive and you're not sure, then I would just leave it unspecified. But I know that I created this thing in a Google Doc, so I'm going to click that it's a Google Doc just to narrow my search. And ownership, is it owned by anyone? In other words, did somebody share it with you? Is it somewhere in your folder? Is it, or did you create it? And I know on this particular thing that I created it myself, so it's owned by me. Now, as I've been sitting here thinking, I can search that way, or I can even put in an additional search term. I know that I think somewhere in the title I called it a letter. So I'm going to click here, and now my search results have gotten me to my Chromebook letter. They've narrowed and narrowed and narrowed down. When I click on my drive, it erases all my search parameters. Another way that you can do it, and like I said, you can do all file types. In other words, you're looking at everything. You know that they open it with Google Sheets, and you're not sure who owned it. You can just click search, and then it'll give you search results of all the different sheets that have been shared with you. And then if you remember, oh yeah, I think it's when we were talking about 6th grade, or you can put in your grade. So you can continue to narrow it and narrow it and narrow it. When you could drop it down again, you feel, oh, listen, it is definitely not owned by me. That takes out everything that you did not create. So then it's just going to keep on making it easier for you to find exactly what you're looking for. So I hope you had fun on this Techie Tuesday. Remember, this is where technology is magic, even when you know how it's done. Have a great day.